Dave Filoni has been creatively involved with some of the most beloved cartoons of all time and continues to expand his influence within the realm of television. Today, I want to take a look at how an artist from Pittsburg, Pennsylvania, quickly became one of the most important people since George Lucas within the Star Wars universe. Purple Hippo Cinema. Purple Hippo Cinema. Dave Filoni grew up in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh. In high school, Filoni was in the school's marching band as well as the starting goalie on the school's hockey team. After high school, he graduated from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania in 1996 with a degree in applied media with a focus in animation from the school's art department. He has said that he chose Edinburgh because it was one of the few state schools that offered an animation program. After college, he had trouble finding a job, applying to many on both the East and West Coasts. This includes applying for jobs at both DreamWorks and Disney, getting as far as to take in-between tests drawing characters such as Tinkerbell, Sleeping Beauty, and Pocahontas, but having no such luck. Tweens in animation refer to the frames of animation between the keyframes of a character that make the illusion of movement much smoother. Filoni eventually moved to Los Angeles to take a job at HBO Animation, where he was going to be doing storyboard cleanup on the Spawn TV show. However, he never worked on the show, as in the months before the job would have started, he was told by fellow Pittsburgh local Pete Meskis that Film Roman was looking to hire people to do character layout on King of the Hill. Filoni took him up on the offer, and just like that, he had his first job with a major animation company. Filoni worked on King of the Hill for 2 seasons, one season in character layout and the other as assistant director. He enjoyed his time at Film Roman, saying of the place, "That was a tremendous place to learn. You got to do many different things, you got to talk to a ton of different artists, all of whom were tremendously experienced. They made The Simpsons on the floor below us. They've just got very professional shows with incredibly talented people, and it was a great learning environment where if you showed a willingness to work hard, you'd be given an opportunity to do a bunch of things." After working on King of the Hill, Filoni worked on the show Mission Hill as assistant director with series creator Lauren McMullen. Also working on the shows were Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, whom which Filoni would become good friends with. After working on the show, DiMartino and Konietzko departed the studio to go work at Nickelodeon, while Filoni stayed at Film Ronin and worked on The Oblong and Timo Supremo as assistant director and storyboard artist respectively. In 2003, Filoni left Film Ronin to join Disney Television Animation Department. He started at Disney by doing character revisions and working as a storyboard artist on Kim Possible. From 2003 to 2005, Filoni continued working as a storyboard artist for a number of popular Disney cartoons. This included Fillmore, Lilo and Stitch the series, Dave the Barbarian, and American Dragon Jake Long. After working on these successful Disney shows, he got a call from his old friends Mike and Brian that they were developing a new show for Nickelodeon and they wanted him to be involved. That is how Dave Filoni joined the team to create Avatar The Last Airbender. Filoni was drawn to the direction that Mike and Brian were going with the new series, mixing elements from Japanese anime and Western American cartoons, saying of his initial impressions of the show, "When I did Airbender, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the stuff I grew up watching. I liked Robotech and Akira and all the things Miyazaki was doing, and this was the opportunity to do that." Filoni was joined by fellow Film Roman alumni Lauren McMullen in joining the Avatar production crew. Filoni directed and did storyboard art for 8 episodes of Avatar's first season, as well as being credited with doing character design on the episode The Fortune Teller and The Siege of the North Ark. Some of these episodes directed by Filoni include the first 2 of the series, The Boy in the Iceberg and The Avatar Returns, as well as standout episodes like The Blue Spirit, The Northern Air Temple, the final episode of the season, The Siege of the North Part 2. Filoni also worked on the series as a writer, writing the Season 2 episodes The Serpent Pass. While working on Avatar, Filoni would frequently discuss with his coworkers his love of Star Wars and his passion for the prequels movies that have recently come out and how excited he was for the upcoming movie Revenge of the Sith. It turns out because of this, Filoni thought that one of the most important phone calls of his life was a prank by fellow Nickelodeon employees. He got a call from Catherine Winder saying that she worked for Lucasfilm Animation. His first thought is that there was no such thing as Lucasfilm Animation, and the call must have been a prank from someone tired of him talking about Star Wars all day. Saying, "I thought immediately that it was Vince Waller and some of the SpongeBob guys making fun of me because I'm such a fan and Revenge of the Sith is about to come out, so I almost hung up. Luckily, I didn't." Winder had gotten his name by a recommendation from Chris Pernowski, and when he had been asked for a list of names that he thought could head up an animated show about Star Wars, apparently Filoni's name was the only name that Pernowski recommended, saying that he was the guy that Lucasfilm needed. After passing through several rounds of interviews, Filoni was invited to Skywalker Ranch to meet with George Lucas himself. Filoni said that he tried to look at the silver lining even if the meeting didn't go as well as he had hoped, saying that whether or not he got the job, he would have the best story ever while waiting in line to see Revenge of the Sith. This, however, was not the case, as the two hit it off, and Filoni was offered the job of supervising director of the Clone Wars on the spot. While working on the first season of Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show for Cartoon Network, George Lucas thought that the first 3 episodes should instead be stitched together and released in theaters, thus giving Dave Filoni his first director's credit for a feature-length animated film. And while the movie was not very well received by critics, it was no indication of how well the Clone Wars TV show would do. While Filoni collaborated with George Lucas himself throughout the 6-year run of the hit animated TV show, Filoni was the most consistent voice throughout the show's development. In addition to being the show's supervising director, he also directed a good deal of the episodes himself. He also served as a writer on various episodes and gave his voice to the minor bounty hunter Embo. Throughout the first 6 seasons, Clone Wars was hailed by fans and critics alike for its quality, characters, and storyline that added depths to well-known Star Wars characters like Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Darth Maul, while creating beloved characters original to the series such as Rex and Ahsoka Tano. The show also garnered many awards, including multiple Emmys for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation, and while not winning, Dave Filoni himself was nominated for multiple Emmys for Outstanding Directing in an Animated Program. However, in 2012, it was announced that George Lucas would be selling Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion. It was announced that the Clone Wars, which had exclusively aired on Cartoon Network, would end, and a new show, Star Wars Rebels, would begin production on Disney's network. Dave Filoni was given the same oversight on this new project and was tasked with creating new Star Wars content in the post-George Lucas era, a task Filoni did not take lightly, saying, "When you work here long enough, you know George. You wonder what it would look like without him. My thing was, how do I make this work and maintain the integrity of Star Wars and Lucasfilm?" Star Wars Rebels was immediately put into production following the end of the Clone Wars, with Dave Filoni once again at the helm as executive producer as well as overall supervising director. The show takes place in between the end of Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One in the canon and features a brand new group of characters that make up one of the many rebel cells working against the Empire. The show also features appearances from other beloved Star Wars characters from movies, as well as the Clone Wars series, such as Ahsoka, Rex, Darth Maul, Hondo, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Lando Calrissian, Wedge Antilles, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The show ran for 4 seasons and was nominated for 4 Emmys, including Outstanding Children's Program, however did not win any of these nominations. After 2 seasons of the show, Filoni left his role as supervising director of the series as his role expanded to being the head of animation at Lucasfilm, overseeing all projects in the department. He remained attached to the series as an executive producer and returned to his role as supervising director for the show's final season, as well as serving as a writer for 8 episodes and directing the final 4 episodes of the series. In 2017, Jon Favreau, who had previously worked with Dave Filoni on The Clone Wars, voicing the Mandalorian warrior Pre Vizsla,
So you see, it's not murder at all. It's like you say. It's justice!
asked him if he wanted to work with him on creating a new live-action Star Wars TV show. Filoni agreed, and the two shared executive producing roles on the show that would become The Mandalorian. Around the same time, Filoni expressed interest in expanding into other areas of Lucasfilm, particularly working in live action. Head of Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy advised him to hang around Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams on the set of The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, respectively. Filoni was able to put this knowledge into practice on The Mandalorian, directing 3 episodes in the series so far, as well as writing 2 of them. These episodes include Chapter 1, The Mandalorian, Chapter 5, The Gunslinger, and Chapter 13, The Jedi, which saw the live-action debut of Rosario Dawson as Filoni's beloved character Ahsoka Tano. Filoni himself appeared as a New Republic fighter pilot in Mandalorian Chapter 10, The Passenger. Also around this time, Filoni and his team were finally able to bring closure to the Clone Wars series as the long-awaited final season was finished and released on Disney's streaming platform Disney+. And it seems that his role in the Star Wars franchise will continue to increase as he appears to be heavily involved in a lot of new Star Wars shows and projects that have recently been announced. This includes being confirmed as an executive producer and writer for the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, and the Bad Batch series, which will continue the arc of the same name set up in the final season of the Clone Wars. Dave Filoni has been involved with some of the most beloved and critically acclaimed animated shows of all time. From working his way up from a storyboard artist all the way to being an executive producer, director, and writer on one of the biggest shows in the past couple of years, Filoni shows no signs of slowing down, and I imagine we'll be hearing his name and the many projects he'll work on within a galaxy far, far away for a very long time.